Hi, I'm Matt Rosso from Local Market Domination. We develop and implement online marketing strategies to help businesses drive targeted clients to their door so they don't even have to think about the online marketing side of things, and they can then focus on what it is that they do best, servicing their clients. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you an outline of the exact strategies that you need to include in your online marketing strategy, and if you want to dominate your market and consistently drive new clients to your door. Now, if you're in a small business or if you're the marketing person for a corporate company, one of the major issues that you've probably already faced when starting your research is that online marketing is confusing. It can even seem like there's a whole lot of contradicting information out there. And you know what? There is. And I'll explain why later in a video. The question is, do you have a clear blueprint for how your online marketing strategy needs to look over the next 12 months? Most likely you don't. And if you do, it may not be specific enough, or it may not be the most effective strategy for your business. But the good news is that if you can figure out a highly effective online marketing strategy which you implement over the next 12 months, you can completely transform your business, whether you're a small to medium business or a multinational corporate company. Well, in this video, I'm going to clear all of the confusion and lay out a plan for how you can set up your online marketing plan and make it how it's meant to look over the next 12 months. But before we get into that, there's a lot of people that ask us, well, we understand that you do online marketing. What do you specialize in? Do you do SEO? Do you do social media? Do you do web design? And you know, the answer is, well, yes, yes, and yes. But what we really specialize in, quite simply, is getting you clients. We look at your current online marketing strategy, and then we develop and implement strategies to grow your profit depending on what your needs are. And those needs are different from company to company. And I think that one of the issues with online marketing with the industry is that businesses in our industry, we put a lot of information out there that has a secret agenda of helping them create business in their field. So for example, you might come across someone in Twitter, for example, and before even taking a step back, before you move into this field, you might be owning a small business, you might be working as the marketing person in a corporate company, and you've been set the task to go out and do this thing called research. And what happens is you start this looping process, and I'll explain what I mean by that. So you go out there and maybe you start with Twitter, and you start learning about what is this Twitter thing, and you do all this research on it because you've come across a guru on the internet that says that Twitter is the only way to make money for businesses these days. Don't worry about anything else. Twitter is amazing. If you can get Twitter right, then you don't need anything else, etc. So you start doing all this research about Twitter. How do I set up a Twitter group? How do I set up a profile? What am I meant to tweet? What are retweets? And all this sort of stuff. And you go through all this sort of rigmarole. So you're on Twitter and someone leaves a tweet with a link to their Facebook page. So you're like, Facebook, of course. So you start doing all this research about Facebook. How do I set up a Facebook page? How do I set up a timeline pic? What do I need on a timeline pic? What are the rules for timeline pics? And we're just talking about pictures at the moment. We haven't even got onto posts and things like that. How do I set up my page? How do I set up my ads? How do I do ad copy? How do I get people to convert? What do I feed them when I give them information? All these different things. And we start doing all this kind of research, and you'll come across someone in Facebook, a Facebook guru, who will say, you don't need anything else, just use Facebook. So you're getting information from Twitter, Facebook, and then maybe you get an email from someone offering you SEO services. And you go, what the hell is an SEO? SEO, or search engine optimization, is basically the methods that are used to help you get ranked in Google, Yahoo, and Bing. But we talk about mainly Google because Google's got the majority share of the internet. So you learn about SEO and you realize, hang on a second, we do need to get ourselves ranked for keywords. Okay, how do you go about that? Who do you hire to do that? What do we need in an SEO campaign? What does it exactly mean? So you start doing all this research for SEO. And then in your SEO, you might come across some search results and you see a video there. So you click on the video, and it's a guy telling you how video marketing is the most important thing these days since sliced bread. So you start doing all this research on YouTube. How do I set up a YouTube video? How do I set up a YouTube profile? How do I create videos? What types of videos do I create? What converts? What kind of information should I put on there? So you start doing all this research here, and in your videos, you've done your research on your videos. Maybe you find out, hang on a second, maybe I need Google Plus, or maybe I need Google Plus Local. which are two different things, by the way. So you do all this research into all these different things about Google, Google Plus Local, Google Maps for businesses, all this sort of stuff. And you're doing all this research on here. Then you think, hang on a second, maybe I should set up an autoresponder. So you start doing this research on autoresponders. You start going through, should I do Aweber? Should I do Infusionsoft? Should I use, which one should I use? What information should I send out there in my autoresponder responses? So you start doing all this research, and someone tells you you can't have a business if you don't have autoresponders. The other person says you can't have a business if you don't have Google+. So what you end up having is what they call confusion marketing, which leaves us feeling confused and overwhelmed. And a lot of online marketing companies out there implement this strategy, leaving you feeling confused so that you'll end up just giving up and using their service. And that's something that my team and I just won't stand for. In fact, one of the things that we wanted to do was to implement a strategy very similar to Richard Branson and Virgin. Now, whether you like the brand or not, one of the things that I really admire about them is that they find an industry that has a whole lot of confusion marketing. They enter the market seeking obviously to make money, but they do it by simplifying things for the consumer so they can then understand things and they can feel empowered to do something about it. And an example of this is with telecommunications and mobile phone plans. Now, before Virgin entered the market, we would get these plans and we'd have no idea what they meant. And we'd get these bills at the end of the month and we'd be looking at them and we'd think, where the hell did that extra $35 come from? So Virgin decided to enter the market and simplify things so that the consumer could understand exactly what they were getting charged so they felt empowered to buy from them. And in the end, the industry had to follow suit to stay competitive. And that's exactly what we're going to do here for you. Each week, we're going to create videos or articles that help to simplify things for you and cut out all the confusion so that you can be empowered to move forward with your business. So let's take a look at what aspects your online marketing should include. Now, keep in mind that you may already be implementing some of these aspects, but maybe some of these strategies aren't being implemented as efficiently as they could be. And this is why we create online marketing systems based on your business's individual needs. And one of the major parts of our online marketing strategy is to create a high converting website. The reason is that we could have all kinds of traffic coming to your site, but if you're not converting it, then you're leaving a lot of money on the table. And there are many facets to a website, but what you really want to focus on is the message and the layout. And I'll go into that more in coming weeks, but basically you want to make sure that you have content that entices people to want to get to know more about you and then buy from you. Secondly, you want to be able to lay the content out in a way that's easy to follow and which conveys the message that you want to convey throughout your whole website. Then you have SEO. SEO, or search engine optimization, is the name that we use for the strategies that we use to get you shown on the top of Google, Bing, and Yahoo. But as Google's got the majority of the market share, we generally just talk about Google. Now, SEO is definitely one of the major strategies that has a lot of confusion marketing happening. You could go to 3 different SEO companies and they'll give you 3 different strategies with 3 different keyword lists, depending on what they're focusing on and what their expertise level is. The important thing to know about SEO is that it's all about first working out exactly what the right keywords are to go with for you and for your individual business. Then writing consistently good quality targeted content with the right keywords, and then consistently sending that content out to the right places in a systematic way. SEO is a big subject, so I will break it down in a later video. Now, next is the enigma of social media. Now, this is another area that businesses get stuck in. You may already have set up your social media sites and maybe even posting, but you may find that you're not getting the return on investment that you'd hope for. And the reason for this is that social media is it's a live organism and it needs to be understood. The social media community, it has needs, it has wants, it has desires. And if you can fit in your marketing strategy to fit those needs, then you will succeed. Now, within social media, you really want to know how to use Twitter, Facebook, Google, Google+, LinkedIn, and even Pinterest to build yourself a tribe of loyal followers and paying clients. Now, Each of them have slightly different strategies, which we'll get into at another date. But again, it's about writing good content and knowing how to get it out to these sites while engaging with your target audience at their level. And more importantly, we need to know how to integrate each of these sites with each other so that you can create a well-oiled client building machine. And there are two major reasons that you really want to do social media well. And the first is that by writing good content and educating the audience, they can start to like and trust you. And you become an authority in your industry, which is one of the most powerful things that you can do to get credibility in your potential clients' eyes. Now, secondly, when you integrate keywords and content from your blog and your website with your SEO strategy and with your social media marketing, it's amazing how it can really boost your rankings in Google. So social media can no longer be ignored. Now next, we have PPC. Now, pay-per-click is when you pay a certain amount for each time someone clicks on your ad, for example. Now, the most common forms of this are Google AdWords, Facebook ads, and banner ads. And PPC it's still an important part of your overall marketing strategy because it helps you to drive immediate traffic while you're building up your other strategies. And now we have local marketing. Local marketing is basically the strategies that we use to get you showing in Google Maps. And it can be very handy for businesses who want to market to a specific location. For example, a mining company who wants to show up in the results for Perth could really benefit from this. And the reason is that Google now, it takes up a fair bit of space on those local searches with Google Maps. With the right marketing, you can show up on that too. Now, let's move on to the next one, which is mobile marketing. Now, as you're probably aware, there are a lot of people now who use their mobile phones to search the internet for your products and services. And at the time of this shooting, around about, I think it was about 50% of search is being done on mobile phones. And the type of search that can be done is slightly different for some industries. So for example, a desktop user who's at home relaxing, they might look up a restaurant to eat at. They might look up terms such as Melbourne restaurant reviews. And they go through each review before picking a nice restaurant to eat at that night. Whereas a mobile user is different. We need to realize that mobile users, they generally don't have time. They're killing time when they're waiting in line, they're on a break, or they're waiting for an appointment. So they might look up the term restaurants near me or restaurants now. Now what happens is that Google asks if they can use the location device to tell where the mobile user is. And the mobile user clicks OK, and the map comes up with all the restaurants near that person. So as you can see, you do need to have a separate marketing campaign for mobile users, depending which industry you're in. Alrighty, the next one, video marketing. Now video, it's one of the most powerful tools that you can use to market yourself. There are two main reasons for this. Firstly, like the other forms of social media, it helps build your authority in your industry. However, creating videos that inform and educate your followers is like social media, but basically it's on steroids. It's really powerful because people get to see you, which helps them to see that you're real and they're able to relate to you more than any other medium. Secondly, creating a campaign of YouTube videos with the correct keywords and distributing it in a systematic way can greatly help your rankings in Google. Now, why is that? It's because Google owns YouTube and therefore is happy to give great link power for those videos. Now finally, we have follow-up systems. Now it's shown that a great conversion rate for most sales for people who hit your website is about 1%. What this means is that most people who hit your website will leave and never think of you again. So what if we could set up a follow-up system that allowed us to collect our site visitors' information and kept us in front of our potential client's mind so that when they're ready to buy, they'll buy from us. Now, there are a few ways of following up, and one of the great ways to do it is to collect people's information such as their name and email. And once you've done that, you can write great content that educates and markets to your potential clients. This helps them relate to you and come to like and trust you. So when they're ready to buy, they'll buy from you. Now, another front of mind follow-up system is to have your potential clients join your social networks so that you can consistently educate them and market to them so that when they're ready, they'll buy from you. Now, not to mention that they will spread the word across the social networks when you do a great job for them. This is basically an outline of the strategies that you could include in your online marketing system. Now, as you can see, it's not just about SEO, it's not just about social media, it's not just about video. It's about having a holistic marketing system that works together to dominate your industry. Now, that being said, it may be that you don't need all of the strategies, depending on where your business is at and what your needs are. So for example, I've got a client in New South Wales who's looking to break into the commercial retaining wall industry with a very, very exciting product that's superior to the current product that's the industry standard at the moment. But for this client, using SEO, it just wouldn't bring a positive return on investment right now. So what they need to do is they need to educate the market on what their product is and how it's different to the current industry standard. So for them in particular, we've been working on a social media campaign which has been growing really well for such a tight niche. And on the other side, we've got a client that's an accountant firm in Melbourne. And for them, we did start an SEO campaign, and now we've got them showing on the front page for their major keywords, and they're all happy. So the point of this was to show that every business has different needs, and you do need to have this, to have this end goal in mind. But let's start somewhere focused, and then we can expand from there. And the place to start is a place that will bring you the best return on investment. And that starting strategy, it's different from company to company and depending where your business is at. This moves you on to the next part where I give you my big pitch. Here you can see that this is what you need to do in order to have a successful online marketing strategy. And it requires a lot of work and a lot of skill. So you could spend the next few months trying to figure this out and possibly not really getting anywhere with it. You could spend a whole lot of time on all of the research, all of the time taken to try and learn everything about everything, and all of the time trying to implement it properly. Or you can bypass this and not even have to worry about it. And you could use us at Local Market Domination to do all of the work for you, to implement all of the strategies for you. We will find where your best return on investment will be, and we will get you clients with a positive return on investment. It's that simple. And we'll save you months and months and months of time, money, and heartbreak by doing it all for you and making you profit. If you'd like to know more, there'll be a link around here somewhere around this video that'll take you to our inquiry page, or you can call us on 1300 533 485. So that's my big pitch. So hopefully you've enjoyed the video and you've got a lot of good direction out of it. If you did get something out of it, I'd really appreciate if you hit the like button or commented if there's a comment section around the video somewhere, and share it amongst the social networks to spread the word. Much appreciated. Now, over the next few weeks, I'm going to be creating some videos that break down each of these strategies so that you can understand how they work. So keep an eye out for them over the next few weeks. Well, again, I hope you've enjoyed it, and I look forward to catching up soon.